The link was actually sent last week or something.
Yeah,
I didn't get.
I didn't get the link. I didn't get anything this morning either.
You want me to forward it to you real quick?
Email. Oh wait. Oh, I got it. It finally happened. I don't know what's up with my email, but okay.
All right, so let me see if I can share the screen. Now, boom. So, can everybody see my screen, the agenda?
Yeah.
ACA GM agenda, Wes's report, which really wasn't quite what I intended, but anyway, I got all the good stuff down here though. So new members, so the members are Vivian, Krista, Dina, and Vicky Griffiths. I had a good meeting with her. I don't know, have any of you ladies met Vicky? Okay, so she asked if she could be a board member. I'd encourage, before we do, first of all, do we need to have another board member? I think there's an opportunity. She's a more of a life coach, health wellness coach. She does weight loss. She's big into weight loss. So that could be a good opportunity. But she reached out and I didn't want to make that decision without talking to you ladies. I would highly recommend you each have a conversation with her before we make a decision, so we can make a decision about that next time around. So events, activities. So really, I kind of wanted to be brief. Krista, I don't know if you you came on here late. My aunt passed away this morning, so I'm a little bit all over.
Understandable.
All over the place today, so it's gonna be a bit emotional, but that's okay. I want to get this done because it's we need, I think time is of the essence here to start picking some dates and moving forward. So if we delay it anymore, it just pushes things further away, right? So the dates for the monthly social, I don't know if everybody can read that. Let me zoom in here.
That's fine.
I looked at the calendar, so I brought up, let me just see if I can bring up.
A lot of tabs there.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy with the tabs. It's less than it was yesterday. I closed my computer now. It had 80 tabs open.
That just caused me a whole lot of stress.
You don't want to know how many I have. Not only do I have a lot of tabs open, but they're grouped by subject. And I have several instances of Google going as well as Bing.
And I'll do that with my clients where I have to have instead of having it like that where they're all across, I will section them out. So one I can pull up is for Krista, one I can pull up is for another client. So all their stuff is grouped by that section because I
got 13 tabs open. I'm stressed out about that.
And it's nothing. Just kidding.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
All right. So
okay.
So here we were going to talk about dates for the monthly social. So we have Wednesdays available, and I just brought that screen up here. So we have this second Wednesday of the week and the third Wednesday of the week open. I picked Wednesdays because they're probably the two most open days for any of the events within.
I like Wednesdays. I don't know about the other two, but I like Wednesdays. Yeah, Wednesdays are best for me.
So then the question is, what time do we go? Morning, noon, evening?
And
realize too that mornings would probably be best because as a virtual club, we do have some overseas folks like Jean and that who will be coming to our, they have that GMT time zone, right? So they're 7 hours ahead of us. So if we do something in the evening, they won't be able to come because it's late in the wee hours of the morning for them. My suggestion would be
9 or 10 Wednesday morning works for me.
Yeah, because we go to the Quincy ACA meeting, which is Central Time. It's 8 to 9.
8 to 9.
Yeah, that's 7 my time.
9 my time. So we're all okay, cool.
So,
where are you at again, Dina?
I'm in Colorado.
Yeah, you're mountain time like me, right?
Yeah. So I'm mountain time.
So as long as it aligns with you guys, I'm good. Because
so why don't
in 2 hours?
Yeah.
So why don't we do 9 a.m. Mountain, which is 10 a.m. Central, and that makes it about 4 p.m. European. No.
Yep.
Yeah,
European.
and forget about Australia. They're all
Yeah, we're not
over
going
you.
with Australia. I mean, if we get to the point where there's enough members in Australia, then we could probably look at switching to 2 separate
Yeah.
virtual clubs, one for the west half of the hemisphere and the other one for the east half of the hemisphere.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
So we'll do
Okay.
the are we going to do the second Wednesday of the month then? Which is
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
all right,
Yeah, sure, why not?
let's do that. So we can write that one down. So sure, get rid of this and we're going to go.
So that would mean
I
like the
forgot we
9th.
have access to that Google Doc. I already typed it. I should in my notes. I should have just typed it in your doc. Sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's fine.
You guys just have to put up with me typing real slow. Second Wednesdays, 10 a.m.
But be sure to
Eastern,
put,
no, Central. That's Central.
but
Yeah.
make
Make sure
to
you put the time
Central.
zone.
T.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you end up like the Entrepreneurs Club where we all missed our first meeting, but everybody else showed up.
So then the other question that we had was how do we bring value to the event? Now, Dina and Vivian and I spoke about this, as did Martin and myself. I think Martin and Vivian were on the same call together. And we threw some ideas around, and I want to make sure that we kind of throw those ideas around and we can all decide if that's good or not. But really the idea is how do we bring value? Because we don't have a physical club, so we can't get around and drink and, be merry and have a good time rubbing shoulders and giving each other hugs. So how do we bring value to a virtual event? And some of the suggestions were opportunities for training, right? So, and part of that was, we've got the ACA. What are some of the clubs we
Interest
have here?
groups. I don't know off the top of my head.
Interest groups. There we go. So there's the B2B club, the Business Academy, Business Fellowship, Entrepreneurs Club, Executive Club, Manufacturing Distribution Club, Marketing Club, Professionals Club. So there's a bunch of clubs that Speakers Academy, that as business owners, we should all have our fingers into, at least in some way, shape, or fashion,
Right.
because they bring value, right? Now, if you do not want to be an influencer in your space, Speakers Academy is probably not an option. But if you're looking to be an influencer, or you want to have do presentations where you're in front of a crowd, yeah, you definitely want to be looking at that. So how do we take these interest groups and use them as our kind of a launching platform, if you will, right? And so some of the stuff that Vivian and Dina and I threw out, I think we co-host, or we partner with one of these interest groups for one of their events per quarter, right? And then we'll come in, we'll kind of crash their party with a bunch of new members, get to see what everything's about in there, learn some new things, and then come away. And then, once a quarter, so every 3 months, do that a couple of times, maybe 3 times. And then on our social, we have an opportunity to take lessons learned. Like, what did we learn from all those different groups that we can apply to our business, and maybe go have a Q&A session about how do we take that and implement it into our business. Is that any feedback on that idea? Did I lay that out fairly well, Vivian and Dina, or was I off base there?
No, that's
Oh.
fine.
I'm thinking. Go ahead.
No,
Okay, I was thinking if we did one interest group, and then the next meeting we meet and we do like kind of have you break down some of that stuff and how it can apply to some of the different companies and how we can do that, and give an opportunity for Q&A, things like that. So it's not going to 3 of them and then trying to remember everything
Right.
from the ones, but or do one of them a quarter. So we have that event, we kind of do a breakdown and a Q&A, and then we get feedback from everybody of what else they want. We can add those into other quarters like later. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it for the next month, but those are just other ways that we can utilize, have another event for us instead of only going to the interest groups. But I think one interest group a quarter is a great idea. I just don't know what you guys think, if it's too much to go to multiple ones in a quarter, or what you think.
Well, here's kind of and I just to clarify your thinking, do a interest group, and then during the same month we'll have a Q&A session for our club social. Is that kind of
Oh,
what
the
you're thinking?
following month.
Oh no, the following month on our
Okay.
second Wednesday. So it would be our monthly event. Because I guess the thing I have to clarify is this monthly social that you're talking about, because to me a social is like a party.
Well, and
And
that's
so I'm not sure what the goal is with a social versus having a business club.
well, and that's kind of what Martin has been throwing around, is this monthly club social, because that's what they do. The clubs only have one monthly meeting, like the physical clubs, and that's their monthly social. But then they have all these other events going on at the same time. So maybe what we need to be doing is looking at ways to promote all these virtual interest groups and have people go to those, and then on our club social go, hey, let's talk about lessons learned, like what did you guys learn, and then have a Q&A session, right? So that it's not up to us to go host these meetings and stuff, because everybody's schedule is busy, but it's on the onus would be on the members to go to take in the different interest groups that they have an interest in around marketing or around B2B or around manufacturing, and then bring it back to the club social and say, hey, here's what I learned.
So we would all just pick whichever interest group we wanted to attend that month, and we can all come into a collaborative thing for our event.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's one suggestion. Yeah, I like that too.
As I was talking it out here, it kind of came to my mind, right? So
Do we know what they do in those coffee club socials, like in the physical locations? Like, what is their format?
So Charisse and I have put together kind of a template. We're in the works of putting together a template on how based on the coaches club, on how the format should go. And so we're templating that out to all the other clubs, so all the other club can follow kind of the same format. But essentially, from what I understand, is every one of those clubs is an opportunity to learn. Right? They're like the marketing club is all about,
No, I know the clubs for the interest groups. I meant like the physical location, social, monthly
What
social.
does that look like when they get together in person? What is their agenda? Like what agenda
Yeah.
do they follow in person?
Yeah. So I think from what Martin has told me, now you guys might need to correct me because I've never been to one.
I've neither.
It's essentially, it is a social, like they just get around and have drinks and network.
That's all it is.
Well, we did attend a couple virtually when Laura was running
Those were
Colorado
weekly.
Springs.
Those were weekly,
But
Right.
the monthly social, unless you guys attended the one where they were at the restaurant and they only did that once,
Right.
that was their social. And literally everybody gets together, grabs a drink, hangs out, everybody networks, everybody talks. There is no agenda.
Yeah.
And because that's how they are in person, ours can't be that way because we can't do that.
No. So some
We
other
can't
ideas.
just mingle around the room.
Yeah. So some other ideas that I have is I've got a good friend of mine that does. He had to. He's an entertainer. He does DJing and a bunch of stuff, but because of COVID, he's had to pivot, and so he does a lot of stuff online for online socials. So they do like bingo, poker, and a bunch of other things that are interesting, fun games online to keep people engaged. But if people aren't into games, they're probably not a good thing to do, right? But you'd have to have some wobbly pops and get into the gaming space. So I mean that is an option that we could do maybe once a quarter, but that there's a fee attached to that, and I'd have to check with Darcy to find out what that fee is. But
that's actually a good idea. Maybe not necessarily games, but some sort of icebreaker. I used to do in front of my classes all the time, something fun, some sort of fun little icebreaker. They do that at a lot of socials to get people warmed up. And I'm not adverse to actually calling it a social since it is online. And when we invite people, we can say, come to our social, you'll learn a lot, or, or something
I
like
feel
that. You
like
can
if we
meet.
call it a social, it gives people the wrong impression of what it
Absolutely.
is.
Well, what would you like to call it instead?
Well, what's wrong with just the ACA monthly ACA virtual monthly meeting?
Monthly meeting? Yeah.
Because then that opens up the door that if we wanted to do training or talk about interest groups or run a fun social or do just a day of networking, we can.
Do
And
what
I
we
think
want.
that's what I was getting confused about calling it a social. I was like,
Yeah.
not social time.
No,
Okay.
certainly not. So let
And
me take.
I have a game, and it's basically the business version of Cards Against Humanity, only it's clean. And one of my a organization that I am a provider in, they ran that game with us one day to help us with coming up with headlines for social media posts and just coming up with fun things. And so she gifted us, those of us that attended, the whole game.
Oh, nice.
So that will also give us another thing. Like if we want to throw in a couple fun questions, so it's still a bit of a game, but it kind of opens up some dialogue and conversation. We have those too. I have access to those too.
Because what we do breakout rooms so people can get to know each other.
When it gets large enough, definitely, we could potentially, and our goal is to have in excess of 100 members virtually. And so that becomes an opportunity for us to have, break out into two breakout rooms per evening, right?
Yeah.
Per morning. And then everyone gets to know, 4 or 5 people in that room really well. And the idea is, hey, get your information into the chat so you guys can connect virtually, do a one-on-one and get to know each other. And then from there, decide where and who is going to create a virtual team. Right. So I do the Calgary virtual team on Thursdays, which is kind of the flagship to how we want to see the teams roll out. But the teams are still part of the virtual club, but they're smaller group. Each person is from a different niche in their industry, and it allows us to dive way deeper into building those relationships with those folks, right? And so that's where you really get to leverage the power of relationships in sphere marketing. We're not going to be able to do leveraging in sphere marketing inside of a monthly meeting where there could be 100 people online. It's not going to happen. But that's where the connections are made. That's where the handshakes are made. Now let's go dive into the teams, right? And so that's kind of where we see it going. What's kind of your thoughts on that?
No, I like that. I'm not against breakout rooms. What I don't like though is when it's just like 10 of us and we're broken out into 3 or 4 breakout rooms, and every month you end up in the same breakout room with the same people and so I prefer larger. I mean, not huge, but larger breakout rooms. And that won't happen until we get bigger, of course.
No, it won't happen. Like as long as if there's 10 or 12 people, there's no point in even breaking out into a breakout room. But when we get up to 15 or 20, we'll break into 5 or 6 people per room, right? Which makes it relatively easy to manage. Right? Sure.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
I like that.
we just need a leader in each room, and those leaders can be picked from the crowd at random. Hey, you want to lead the room? Just all you got to do is make sure everybody's on topic, on time, and then move on to the next person, right? So
sure.
Basically running a stopwatch is really all you do, I think.
And if you just a quick side note on that, if you want to know how to make your background have a timer on it, I can show you, because it's really nice to be able to switch your background to the same background and have a timer automatically start so that people can see it on the screen.
Oh yeah.
Because not everybody pays for something where they can do a timer, and you can do a timer like this in front of you, but nobody else can see it.
Yeah.
And so having an on-screen timer is really helpful.
Awesome.
I did that in Canva. So I have a background and then regular. And so then if I'm in a meeting and we're gonna time something, I just pull up my 30-second, my 1 minute, my 5 minute, my 30 minute, whichever one. I made like 10 of them. So that I could just click whichever one we need, and it makes a big difference.
Well, that would be helpful for sure. For sure. On screen timer, I'm going to put down here, Dina to train.
It's super simple, takes like 2 minutes.
2 minutes, perfect. Would
For me to
you
show you how to do it.
would you want to do up a quick like a Loom video or
Yeah, I can do that.
something like that, and then just share it with us? That would,
Yeah.
then we can reference it whenever we need to, because that would really work for me.
And then another idea, another format that I attended last week. Instead of having one speaker, she had 3 speakers, and they all got 8 minutes. And then there was a Q&A after that, and some more club stuff after that. So it might be something we might want to think about in the future, or to.
Well, and I certainly agree with that, baby. And I think we have the opportunity to allow people to step up and share their stuff, you know, what they bring. And so is that something that we want to do on our monthly meeting, or would we want to just leave that to the teams or to the virtual Club Life Coffee? Or should we do something like that for our socials, like once a quarter, have a speaker series and have, you know, maybe three people come in and share?
I think any of those ideas are good. And I'll add one more. I attended an online, it was like a Bible study. But what she ended up doing for one of our events was she had 3 or 4 different speakers on different topics. And then whatever we felt we wanted to go into, we just let her know. And then she created the rooms based on those lists, so we could all go into the event that we wanted, so they could have 20 minutes and do a Q&A for 10 minutes. So we could even do something along those lines. Another quarter, like one quarter do the one with the lineup of speakers, another quarter do like breakouts where they get more time, and just different. That's another format.
Like a panel.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, like we go to these big events, like I'll use network marketing as an example. You go to these big events and you have to pick which rooms you're going to go into to go learn certain things at certain times. It's just kind of a way of doing that, so they get more time to speak and get questions answered on what they need.
You know, I like that idea, because that really helps us to identify if we have 3 different speakers from 3 different areas of business and everyone goes to the one room, that's a hot button issue. And so we can start to look at, for the next one, you know, what else can we look at for that group to really help them out, right?
The other thing we could do is do a survey before, say, hey, we're getting ready to do this event. What do you want to learn?
Yeah, and
I'd be able to put together a survey that we could all send out with a link. People could just go in and do the survey. And when the survey comes in, because you've got Google Docs, we could do a Google survey in your Google Drive. And that way all of the responses come in and you can see those and go through and see what the common themes are and pick 3. That way there's not one speaker that's not going to be one, you know. That way they don't just have no one show up in their room. I mean, it could happen, but you know, the best we can do is try and just do a survey prior.
Absolutely.
And get their feedback.
I like where we're going with this. So based on what we just talked about, let's pick a date for so next month, the 2nd week. So that gives us what, 3 weeks?
I will say that's not enough time to get our stuff up.
No.
I know.
No. So let's look at doing our first.
Okay, so can we, the 4 of us meet on the 9th at that time, and we can continue working on it? So like if we put it in our calendar for the 9th, we can tie up other things that we need before the 13th.
So do we want to meet like a half an hour prior to? Is that what you're saying?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm saying that we should meet March 9th.
We
So-
don't
Oh,
really
next
have,
month instead of having our event.
right.
Instead of having the event and the time of that event, we meet anyways.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Look at that calendar disaster.
I know it's crazy. So we're in Wednesday, so it's the 13th
In April.
of April. April 13th. So here's the other question. Do we want to meet prior to the event to plan out the next event, or do we want to have a separate meeting date for our executive meetings?
Well,
Because we have to
I'm
do a
thinking,
monthly executive meeting too.
Yeah.
I would think that because 30 minutes ahead of time, if something major we need to discuss, we won't have time. And it's not enough time to fix anything before the meeting starts. So
So you
I
want to
would
do
prefer-
the week before or 2 weeks before?
I'm okay with the week before.
I'm
Depends
okay
on
with
what
the
the
week
others want.
before. At the same time. So like the first Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. Mountain. Wait, am I on the wrong time?
Central, it's 10 Central.
10 Central, sorry.
The exec meeting is first Wednesday of the month, 10 a.m. Central. Half an hour lots. I mean, we've only been half an hour in this meeting. We pretty much banged it out.
Yeah.
Any other things that we need to look at doing?
But no, and we won't need an executive meeting, I don't think, in March, since we're going to take the second Wednesday to have our executive meeting. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't
March.
spell except for March.
We knew what you meant.
Because we
So
need to decide what we're doing for our first meeting.
Well, we have to have that decided before we submit our information for April. So we need to decide that now.
Yeah.
I think it should just be like a general business meeting, like an introduction, like getting to know like
Because
the
we are
space, because we don't know what people want yet. We don't know what we're doing yet, really, on that grand scheme of things.
So should we? So why don't we? Why don't we throw out a couple opportunities for some speakers then, right? So like Dina or Krista, or right here in the executive, because we're talking about it, we can put something together to offer some training so that they get, here's
Sure.
kind of what we're thinking the group's going to look like going forward, and then at the end of the meeting find out if everybody found it valuable, and then okay, here's what would you like to see next meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm open to doing a training on either good website practices, or one thing that's really important that I'm running into a lot is the differences between types of data and when you put data into a database and when you can use Excel.
But what popped into my head going off of that is we could do a panel on tools that you could use to build your business.
I like the
Yes.
panel idea, like that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's-
So we all have, because Vivian can talk about their data, where to put your data and where to house your data when you need it. Because those are tools that you would need to grow your business. Like when we need CRMs and whether you need custom ones or not. Dina does lots of operations and assistance. And I can't remember the third one you told me this morning, Dina.
That's
It was just the two.
it. As an operations specialist and assisting.
Ah, yes.
Mhm.
And so about putting systems into it, and I talk all marketing. So tools like having email marketing and social media marketing.
I think that's a great idea.
Well,
And
don't
then
forget
I'm sure Wes has got something you put into it as well, but I don't know the business well enough.
I'm sure I'm sure he has 2 or 3 cents he'd like to throw in there. Sure.
Sorry, I was trying to capture. So we got email, training, data. Dina, what's yours? Yours was
Operations. So yeah,
Operations.
operations and assistance. So like
When do you hire a VA?
setting up the processes and systems in your company, as well as when you start bringing on a team to work with to do services for you. So like bringing in a VA, or when you need to go from maybe a VA to employees, and how to have both, different things along those lines.
cool. Yeah,
What
definitely.
types of VAs you need.
I think we have a really big opportunity to do that. I think this is a great foundation, I think, for the first meeting. So that, you know, hey, if we just each pick one strategy or one component and let them do a 20-minute or even a 30-minute Q&A, dig in deep, let them ask all kinds of questions. We'd need to have someone to moderate it. And
Well, I was going to say you could moderate it, Wes, because then you can plug in what your business and some of your experiences as well.
Into each of them, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a great idea.
So let me go. So Wes to.
and then we can make sure you grab questions from people and that type of thing as we are talking, because we can get them to drop their questions in the chat as we are talking, and then we can go through them and people can then raise their hands. Wow, I do too many mentoring calls with Grant Cardone's community. So that's how they run those.
Absolutely. So, I think we want to make sure we keep it to 1 hour, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's put together. I'll put together a quick agenda, but essentially it's going to be, go around the room. Once we get to where the room gets too big, then we'll have to break it into breakout rooms. But we'll do quick introductions of the executive, and then into breakout rooms if required. Go around the room, introduce ourselves, biggest challenges, biggest wins, and then come back to the main room, and we'll just do this Q&A.
With a panel where we talk briefly on.
Yeah, do a panel, and then
Q&A.
if there's value and everybody likes this format, maybe we just keep this format for the next little while. But let's base it on some feedback. Hey, this is what we're thinking of the business club is going to be like. What do you want to see? Because really, it's not about what we want; it's what the members are going to see valuable, right?
Exactly.
And as much as I'd like to say, yeah, let's all promote our stuff, nobody wants to be hit over the head. But the best way to do it is to attract, right? And the best way to attract is to provide value.
Yeah, and if we're focusing on educating, we're not worrying about promoting in that aspect, which is nice.
It's also a good way to invite a potential customer or what have you. It's like, hey, I'm answering some questions or giving some advice on this during this meeting. You should join. Or so and so is going to be talking about this. You should join us.
We also need a registration link for the event, so I'll get that looked at.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be something. Yep, I just lost her name. Who'd you mention?
And then
earlier?
Are you going to send us Vicky's information, or is she going to?
Yeah, I'll do an email introduction to all three of you and Vicky, and then you guys can go from there. And next time we meet, we'll decide whether she's part of the club or not. She's part of the virtual club anyway, so it's just a question of whether she's the part of the executive is going forward, right? I think there's a great opportunity here. I'm excited about this. We got a lot of stuff done here this morning. You guys will all have a copy of these minutes. I'm going to go agendas, Wes's report /minutes. And if there's anything else you ladies want to make sure you add to it, by all means do that, because it's now shared amongst us.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
power I like about the Google Drive thing, is it's instantly shared with everyone, right? So
Yeah.
Awesome.
we didn't put
Okay.
any end dates down in there. So here's the initiative, just before we go, just last couple of minutes here. If we've done beat the horse with a stick, I guess. The initiatives for the club pros and the training process. So we've got, I think, and I'll have to go and check with Martin, but I think we got close to 10 club pros for the virtual process. So club pros are essentially business
Wow.
development people. They're getting paid commission for it, so it's kind of exciting. The Tuesdays, the club pros are going through a training program that we put on Tuesdays 3 to 4. Eventually, as we go through the training, it's all going to be put onto a video database. So some of the back end training that's technical around, getting stuff into the CRM and all that stuff.
Is this different than the training on Friday?
So the training on Friday that's not really training. That's just an introduction to the Club
Okay.
Pro, what it's about and what it'll do for you. But the the game plan training, we're changing it now to Club Pros. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm still trying to get the name straight. The Club Pro training on Tuesdays kind of peels back the layers of the onion. Is how do I invite people? Who do I invite? How do I do it? How do I do the follow-up? How do I, those kind of things. And then the other side of it is the technical stuff, which is getting people into the CRM, right? They're in the process of changing the CRM right now. So we're not too worried about if you're still struggling with what they call it, wild apricot.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So they're changing it. Hopefully they'll have it in place here soon. A new one that's going to be much, much more effective and a little easier to use as well, right? So,
right.
So that's the initiatives that we've got out there. So the club is going to be growing. I had 15 people I invited to this morning's meeting. 2 showed up, which was kind of cool. But that's kind of crazy because this morning is today's a holiday in Canada, right? So family day. So admin, what's the next date for the board meeting? We already nailed that down. So that is March. What did I say that was? March what?
9th.
Is it March 9th?
Oh, my son turns 20. I have no more teenagers.
Oh my goodness. You're not old enough to have a 20-year-old.
Yeah, my oldest is 27. Yeah.
So that's at 10 a.m.
Central. If you just put it in Mountain Time, we get it.
Right.
I know that's what the process is going through. If you just do 9
Because
a.m.
the ACA
Mountain
puts
Time.
everything is Central Time because of where they're located.
Yeah.
9 a.m. Mountain. So we're done.
All righty.
So any action items between now and then?
I'll do a Loom video. And then we need to connect with Vicky.
Or timer training. And then I will need to send out intro. Vicky.
And you need to send out this information to get it on to the ACA calendar.
Send info to Whitney.
Which there's actually a form you have to submit.
Yeah, all right. Any other questions, ladies?
No.
No, I think we're good.
Feel free, if something should come up, feel free to email as a group and we can discuss or what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So as you can see, my calendar is a little bit nuts, but if you don't call me back, if I don't call you back right away, if it's urgent, phone me. That's the only way to get a hold of me.
Okay.
Email, I'll get lost because I get about 500 emails a day. So if you need text or phone me and I'll get back to you as quick as possible. If you send me an email and you need me to read it, make sure you text me saying, hey, just sent you an email, go look for it. It's easy enough.
I'll have to look and see what that'll cost since you guys you're in Canada, sir. It's international.
Yeah, so I I use Virgin Mobile, and it's $15 for me to call anywhere in the US a month.
I think Canada's free for us, isn't it?
You'd think it would be,
I
because
think we have
we're just like,
like
It depends on the carrier.
Yeah.
One easy way to do it is to use Messenger Plus, or not
What?
Messenger Plus, I'm sorry, Facebook Messenger, which you can use separate from Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so text messages North America are free,
Okay,
okay.
as far as I'm aware, because I can text anywhere in the US, whether I had a plan or not. So
okay.
couldn't make a
Okay,
phone
cool.
call, but now I can. So I'm paying extra for it, but it's all good. All right, ladies, I'm going to call this meeting to a close,
Yeah.
and off we go.
All right.
Hang
Well,
in there,
take care.
Wes.
We'll keep your family in
Yeah,
our
thank you very
prayers.
much. I appreciate it, ladies.
We'll be thinking of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.